Hello everyone. So today we are talking about fraction Fundae. I find that a lot of students, even in their higher classes, they are not clear about their fractions, and there is a fear of fractions which makes them commit unnecessary errors. So today we will talk about the simplest way to understand fractions, and once you learn this, it would be very easy for you to do any type of questions that involve fractions. Okay, so when we are talking about fractions, first thing that we need to remember is a fraction which is put up in this manner has a numerator and a denominator. So first understand that a numerator is the entire part that lies above this line, and the denominator is the entire part which lies under the line. So everything which is included above the line is the numerator, and everything which is included below the line is the denominator. So suppose you have something like 4 by 5. So this is the numerator and this is the denominator. If you have 2x minus 1 by 4, this is the numerator and this is the denominator. This entire thing is the numerator and this entire thing is the denominator. And the reason I'm stressing a lot on this is because the numerator and the denominator, they go together. They are not separated. They cannot be separated. This you cannot write as 2x minus 1 by 4 and you can simply take 2x out of it and work on it. You have to take this into entirety. This means that this is equal to 2x minus 4 minus 1 by 4. So this is the entire representation of this type of a fraction. And this is a very common error that students in higher classes, when they are doing fractions involving algebraic expressions or algebraic terms, they commit these type of errors. So first and foremost, understand that whatever is above the line is an entire thing. This is the whole thing is the numerator, and whatever is below the line, that is the whole thing which goes as the denominator. So now once the numerator and the denominator concept is clear with us, let us talk about the basic operations that are done involving these numerators and denominators. So the first and foremost thing you need to remember is that only like fractions can be added or subtracted. So only like fractions you can add or subtract. But as far as multiplication and division is concerned, you can take like fractions, unlike fractions, and you can multiply them or divide them. But as far as addition and subtraction is concerned, the only way to do them is when they are like fractions. So what do we mean by like fractions? Like fractions simply mean that they have the same denominator. You can see it over here. The denominator is 10, the denominator is 10 in both of these fractions. The denominator is 8, the denominator is 8 in both these fractions. The denominator is 9 in all these fractions. So that means these fractions, they can be added or subtracted together. But if they are not like fractions, like suppose we get something like this. What is 1 by 3 plus 2 by 5? 7 by 8 minus 2 by 5. So what do we do? Not all the fractions are going to be like fractions, right? So in case they are unlike fractions, so for addition and subtraction, this you need to remember. So what is the thing that you do when you are asked to solve any question involving addition or subtraction? What is the first thing that you do? You check. The first thing that you do is you check whether it is, now fraction you check. whether it is a like fraction or an unlike fraction, right? Now for multiplication and division it does not matter, so we are just talking about addition and subtraction. So over here you first check whether the fraction is a like fraction or an unlike fraction. If it is a like fraction like these, so what do you have? 7 plus 10 equal 7 by 10 plus 2 by 10. They are like fractions, right? So you simply add or subtract. So how do you add or subtract when they are like fractions? You simply, the fraction denominator will remain the same. So for this, the denominator remains the same and you simply add the numerators. So 7 and 2, it becomes 9 by 10. Over here, the denominator remains the same. You simply add the numbers over there and this becomes 10 by 8. And then of course you can further reduce it to 5 by 4. Now this over here, the denominator remains the same and you add up 5 plus 2, 7 plus 1, 8. So you simply solve this, right? Now over here, let us check if it is subtraction. So what do we do over here? See, again they are like terms. So you are adding them or you are subtracting them. So again they are like terms. So what do? The denominator remains the same over here, 14. 9 minus 4 is 5, right? The denominator here remains the same, 11. 6 minus 3 is 3. So you're just taking up the numerators. All the calculation, all the operation that needs to be done is done in the numerator because the denominator is the same. They are like fractions, right? Now for this, it is 12. 8 minus 4 will be 4. So you can further reduce it to 1 by 3. Okay. Now, what if the fractions are unlike fractions like this? So what if the fraction is an unlike fraction? So what do we do then? So if there is an unlike fraction, you have to do 2 steps. So first step is to take out LCM. Then you make equivalent fractions. And then after this, for the third step, you will go just like this and simply add or subtract. Let us see how it needs to be done. So first you take out the LCM. So LCM is always taken for the LCM of denominator. So the LCM of denominator is taken. So here you have 3 and 5. So the LCM of 3 and 5, because they are co-primes, the LCM of 3 and 5 will be 15, right? So here LCM equals to 15. Now let us change the next one is change them into equivalent fractions. So what do we mean by changing into equivalent fractions? So 1 by 3 has to change into an LCM into another fraction which has the denominator is 15 because the LCM is 15, right? So how does 3 change into 15? So to change 3 into 15, we need to multiply it by 5. Now, whenever you are making equivalent fractions, you are either multiplying or dividing with the same number in the numerator or in the denominator. That is how you are doing it. So if you are multiplying 5 in the denominator, you have to multiply with 5 in the numerator as well. So if you look at this part over here, what did we do over here? How did we change this? How did we simplify this? See how did we change this? These are equivalent fractions. They are the same. It is called a simplification. So 10 by 8. Now 8 is also divided. 8 can also be divided by 2 and 10 can also be divided by 2. So here when you are dividing, when you are changing into a denominator which has a lower denominator, you're changing into a fraction which is lower, you divide by HCF. There is this rule that you need to follow. You always divide by HCF and multiply by the what do you call that, multiply by, not the HCF, you have to multiply by a number that will take it to the LCM. Multiply to make LCM. So for division we are always dividing by HCF. So multiply, that is to make it into the simplest form. So you multiply to denominator to get the denominator as LCM. So the LCM was 15, so you're multiplying over here and you're getting 15. So you have to multiply the numerator as well. So in both the cases you have to either multiply or divide. Whichever you are doing, do it for both the numerator and the denominator. This is very common error that students commit, and because of this they get incorrect solutions. So here it becomes 5 by 15. So this has changed to 5 by 15. Now what about 2 by 5? So 2 by 5, let us see how 2 by 5 will change. So 2 by 5, we have to convert it into something by 15. Now this 5, to convert it into 15, what do you need to do? You need to multiply it by 3, right? So again the numerator will also be multiplied by 3. So this fraction gives an equivalent fraction, which is 6 by 15. Now we have like fractions. So now what you do is you simply add up 5 by 15 plus 6 by 15, because instead of 1 by 3 we are writing 5 by 15 over here, and instead of 2 by 5 we are writing 6 by 15 over here. We have converted them into equivalent fractions with the same denominator so that they become like fractions. So you take out the LCM, convert them into equivalent fractions, which we did, and then you move to the third part, you move to add and subtract just like you do with like fractions. So here you will have 11 by 15. So the answer to this will be 11 by 15. Now can you do this? 7 by 8 minus 2 by 5. So the first thing you know, we have to take out the LCM of the denominator. The LCM here would be 40, right? So 7 by 8 we will change into 40. So 8 into 5 is 40. So 7 also we will need to multiply by 5. This becomes 35 by 40 minus 2 by 5. So how do we convert 2 by 5 to something by 40? 5 8s 40. So you have to multiply the numerator as well. This becomes 16 by 40. Now you have 35 by 40 minus 16 by 40, and you can do this calculation easily. And what is it that you are going to get? 19 by 40. So that will be your answer. You cannot simply subtract it. What most students do is they simply take this up, and the calculation that they do is 7 by, sorry, let me just take a different color so that it is easier to understand. 7 by 8 minus 2 by 5. They will subtract this. 8 by 5 is 3, 8 minus 5 is 3, 7 minus 2 is 5, so they will come up with 5 by 3. So is this the correct answer? No, it is not the correct answer. So you have to change it into the like fraction to solve the sum correctly. Now let me give you a very small example about why it is important to convert it into like fractions. Why is addition and subtraction only possible with like fractions? Okay, let us say there are two people, A and B. A says, I want to eat 1/3 pizza. B says, I want to eat 1/4 pizza. Now, if you do not know how to find the relation between them, so for together they will be needing 1/3 pizza and 1/4 pizza. Now you do not know whether one pizza will be sufficient for it or not. So you need to know how much pizza will be eaten and how much pizza would be left behind. So A says I am eating this part. B says I am eating this part. So how much is it that they are actually eating? So what we do is, when you're taking out the LCM, the LCM of 3 and 4 will be what? LCM equals to 12, right? Now let us convert this. How much is 1 by 3? 1 by 3 is, you will have to multiply it by 4 to convert it into 12. So this is 4 by 12. Now how much is 1 by 4? 1 by 4, if you are expressing in terms of 12, then you are multiplying it with 3 and multiplying it with 3. So this is 3 by 12. So what this means is, when you have a big pizza, sorry, my figure is not that good, and you are, let us just assume that they are equal sized. Let us just assume that they are equal sized. Okay, so you have 12. I'm just assuming, oops, sorry, that they are all equal sized slices. So this pizza is divided into 12 equal parts, and this means that A is going to have how many slices, how many pizza slices? So this is like 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this goes for 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is eaten up by A. And what fraction will be eaten up by B? The fraction is 3. So B is taking up 3 slices, right? So how many are left? Now A said that A is going to eat 1/3 of the pizza. That means out of 12, it is going to eat, A is going to eat 4. So because that is 1/3. B said I'm going to eat 1/4. So that means out of 12, 1/4 is 3 slices. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 slices would still be left, the pizza. So one pizza is sufficient for both of them. And still there would be something which is left behind. So if you're subtracting from the whole, subtracting from 1, then how much did they finish? 1 finished. This much they finished, right? So what do they have over here when we are talking about this? So remember, this is like fraction. So this becomes 7 by 12. So now it is 1 minus 7 by 12. So what happens next? How do we do this? This type of an operation, how do we do that? This is no fraction over here. So whenever you have a whole number, the number which is given, it will always be in the numerator and the denominator is 1. So what you're doing is you're writing this as 1 by 1 minus 7 by 12. Now this is denominator is 1, this denominator is 12. So again we need to make them into like fractions, right? So what does this become? This becomes 12 by 12. Any whole number, you can just put it with the same numerator and the same denominator. So what do you get now? 12 minus 7. Now this becomes 12 by 12 and this is 7 minus 12. So you are left with 5 by 12. So see, we were left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slices of pizza. So that is why it is very important that the addition and the subtraction is done with like fractions and you learn to convert them. Now let us do this. This is an addition which is unlike fractions. So what we do first is we take out the LCM for 12, 16 and 24. So 2, 6, 8, 12. Again 2, 3, 4, 6. Again 2, 3, because it is not divisible, so it will simply be brought down. 2, 3. Now again 3, 3 ones 3, 2 is brought down, 3 ones 3. So 2 2s 4, 4 2s 8, 8 3s 24, 24 2s 48. So here the LCM is 48. Now we need to convert all of them into like fractions with 48 as the denominator. So 7 by 12. 12 how many times is 48? 4 times. So you will multiply 7 also 4 times. So this becomes 28 plus 16 how many times is 48? 3 times. So 5 3 times is 15 plus 24 how many times is 48? 24 2 times is 48. So we will multiply this 2 times and we get 18. So now we get equivalent fractions, and all of them we have converted them into like fractions, and now we can easily add them. So 28 plus 18, how much is it? This would be 46. 46 plus 15 is 61. So the answer would be 61 by 48. That is how you solve that. Now suppose it was, instead of this, it was a minus sign over here. So what do you do then? These two need to be added. So when you are putting this up, these two need to be added. So 28 plus 15 minus 18. So we put them in bracket because it means these are the ones that need to be added up, and this is the one which needs to be subtracted. So we will add this 28 and 15. It becomes 28 plus 15 is what? 43, right? So 43 minus 18. 43 minus 18 by 48, and that will give you the answer 25 by 48. That shall be your answer. So please remember that before you are adding or subtracting, always convert them into like fractions. Now let us come to the multiplication part. Multiplication is really very simple. So suppose you have 4 by 9 into let us say 3 by 2. Suppose you have a sum like this. So in multiplication, what you can do is you can cancel out a numerator with a denominator of different fractions or of the same fraction. So you have over here 2 and 4. 2 2s 4, so you can cancel that out. 3 3s 9, so you can cancel that out, and the answer will be 2 by 3. Right? You cannot cancel out the numerators and together and the denominators together. A numerator and a denominator can be cancelled out only. Whether it is of the same fraction or of a different fraction, it does not matter. Now let us check out this question over here. 5 by 14 into 3 by 4. Now here you cannot cancel it out like 2 and 7. No, you cannot do this. This would be incorrect because both of them are in the fraction. So nothing is being cancelled out over here, right? So you will simply find it, you will simply multiply it. So 5 3 is 15, 14 4s, how much is 14 4s? 56. So this will be the answer to this question. Now what about this one? What about when we are solving this question? So how do we solve this? How are we doing this? So if this is, one is a fraction and the other one is a whole number. So what do we do now? So the whole number which is there, it is considered as the numerator. I told you that whenever you have a whole number, it is always considered as a numerator. And if you are confused, you can put 1 in the denominator for any whole number. So 3 6 18. Again, we are cancelling out a numerator and a denominator and a numerator. So the answer to this would be 12. Now what about this? This is a mixed number. So mixed number, we will first change it into an improper fraction. So this becomes 11 by 2 into 5 by 3, right? So again, we do not have anything that can be cancelled with a numerator and a denominator. So we simply multiply it and we have the answer as 55 by 6. So that is how you take up the multiplication. Now let us come to division. Division is just the reverse of multiplication. So in multiplication, what you are doing is you're cancelling out this. Now how do you divide this? So division is reciprocal. This, in this part you can see this part carries the division sign. Always remember that the sign next to any number, just before the number, is the sign for that number. So this division sign is for this fraction. So what you do is, for division, you simply get the reciprocal of the fraction and you give the sign as multiplied. So you change the sign to multiplication and you reverse this. You change the numerator to the denominator and the denominator to the numerator. And now you can solve it. This becomes 15 by 26. Now what about this? When you move to this question. So 5 here, remember I told you that 5 is a whole number over here. So this means actually 5 by 1. And the division sign is with this fraction. So this fraction will need to be in reciprocal. So isko do not change this into the reciprocal, change this into the reciprocal. So you get the answer as 20 by 3, which is one very common error that students commit. Now over here you have 1 4 by 7. This is a mixed number. So again we will change it into a mixed fraction and we have 11 by 7. And remember, this is the one which needs to go into reciprocal. So this will be 5 by 4. So this is what goes into reciprocal. So this becomes 11 by 7 into 4 by 5 and the answer would be 44 by 35. Now what about this? This is the number which is carrying the division sign. So what do we do over here? 5 by 6 divided by 3 by 1. Remember, I told you that with a whole number you can always put a 1 in the denominator. Now this is what needs to go into reciprocal. So this will become 5 by 6 into 1 by 3. So this becomes 5 by 18. So those are the simple things that many students do not pay attention to and they get confused and they are unable to get the correct answers and they are scared of fractions because of that. Now let us solve this. The same thing goes over here. So you see, this is one fraction. Consider this as one fraction. Consider this as the other fraction. So what you need to remember over here is 3x by 4 minus. Now put this entire thing into bracket because remember I told you everything which is above the line is in the numerator. That means this negative sign is for this entire line. This is for the entire 2x plus 5. That's why I'm putting it into a bracket so that we do not forget what it is like, right? 5 by 2. So again they are unlike, right? So we take up the LCM over here and the LCM would be 12. So just let me do it separately first. So the LCM would be 12 for this and 12 for this, and remember this carries the minus sign. Now 4, how do we change 4 into 12? We multiply it by 3. So this also needs to be multiplied by 3. The numerator also will be multiplied by 3. So this becomes 9x. Now how do we change 3 into 12? It is to be multiplied by 4. So this entire numerator should be multiplied by 4. So this actually becomes 8x plus 20 equals to 5 by 2. Now even if we are not going in the linear equation part, let us just look at the fraction part over here, which is the most confusing part for a lot of students. Now you see both of them are like fractions, so the operation can be done with them. So what you have is 9x. And remember your integers law. Whenever you have a negative sign outside the bracket, all the signs inside change. So what you have over here is this becomes minus x minus 20 equals to 5 by 2. So here, now we solve it and we get x minus 20 by 12. This is the fraction which we are getting, equals to 5 by 2. So this is basically from linear equations. I wanted to explain it a little bit so that the students can in higher classes they can also solve that. So when we are solving these type of linear equations, we simply cross multiply. Now remember, when you're cross multiplying, this 2 will be multiplied by the entire numerator. Whatever is in the numerator, it goes together. So what it becomes is, it leads to 2x minus 40 equals to 60. So you have 2x equals to 60. When you're changing sides, the sign changes. So 2x equals to 100, x equals to 50. So that would be your solution. But rather than going into the linear equation part, I was more focused on doing this fraction part, which if you get incorrect, then obviously your linear equation solution is going to be incorrect. So I hope that you understand well how the fractions operations are done, and I hope that with this simple video you would be able to understand it in a much easier and a simpler way. Thank you so much.